Yes, the Central Intelligence Agency feels like the greatest victory that they ever had in their history was driving the Soviet Union from Afghanistan by Operation Cyclone, in which the U.S. worked together with Saudi Arabia. We fielded an army of 1/3 terrorists. We trained them in Wahhabism, the very violent version of Islam, and we did. We drove the Soviet Union from Afghanistan using this vast army. That gave rise to many bad things, including Al-Qaeda, which eventually flew the planes into the Twin Towers and the Pentagon on 9/11. But I think what happened is, because of this victory within the CIA, I think that they became rather addicted to employing terrorist groups as an instrument of foreign policy. And you can see that quite clearly within Syria, where we have been unwavering supporters of Al-Qaeda in Syria, even though Al-Qaeda were the ones who struck America on 9/11. And yet we have unwaveringly supported them because our objective is to overthrow the government of Syria. We really don't care how despicable the group is. Now, with the MEK, I have no doubt that the CIA works with the MEK in establishing this small town that they have, where they have some say now it's 4,000 people, whose sole purpose really is to train and to carry out actions against Iran. I don't like the idea of using terrorism as an instrument of American foreign policy. And yet I see it being done in a number of places. The MEK, they were on the terrorist list. They did a tremendous lobbying campaign. Some people got paid considerable amounts of money to come out publicly in favor of them, and eventually they were taken off the list of terrorist states. But if you look at the time, I think it was 2012 that they were delisted. As the time frame is very important, because we invaded Libya in 2011. We sent the CIA into Syria to commence the Syrian civil war several months later. So we're still into 2011. You look at 2012, see, we have this succession, and we know from General Wesley Clark, who made this quite amazing statement, that the Pentagon had been given orders to overthrow 7 Middle Eastern countries within the next 5 years. And I mean, there's excellent video on it's easily. It was overly ambitious because it assumed that there would not be any great resistance from people. But Iran was on that list. And if you can see, this was during the Obama administration, and Hillary Clinton was very involved in it. And they were putting in place all of these measures to begin to basically a general overthrow of a number of countries in the Middle East. They got stuck in Syria. They discovered that the people there were very resistant, and that created a barrier to their plans for Iran. But delisting MEK in 2012, remember 2011, 2012, it's all happening as part of this greater plan to overthrow these 7 countries. I think that perhaps the United States had limited options with Iran. And the MEK, it had a sort of a tainted reputation with the Iranian people because, you know, it had fought against Iran in the Iran-Iraq war, and people didn't appreciate that. And I think the problem for the MEK is that that was an issue that united all Iranians, where they said, yeah, we're not going to speak in favor of a group that turned against our country when it was invaded by Iraq. So the MEK is it's a very tarnished organization. I don't think very effective, but I think the reason that it's favored is partly, you need to understand, American politicians don't have a depth of understanding about anything in the Middle East. They really don't. They're rather rare. But I think to them, they just say, okay, the MEK, I hear through the grapevine that they're the opposition in Iran. So yeah, and besides, they're going to pay me $50,000 to give a speech. Hey, I can use the money. And so they give a speech, says, yeah, okay, MEK, they're great. But I don't see the MEK as being the future movers and shakers of political events that will be positive for Iran.